Congrats, you started selling and now you need a resale certificate. You have to deal with sales taxes. It's so annoying, I get it, but it's important to have a resale certificate. In this video today, I'm going to explain why you need a resale certificate, why it's important, and I'm actually going to show you how to get it in Florida. Florida has a great resale certificate because it's one piece of paper and you can give it to all your different vendors. They'll all accept one piece of paper. In Wyoming, for example, you need a different resale certificate for each vendor, and they're issued one by one, and it's so annoying. In Florida, the application is actually quite tricky, so stay to the end because you need to send them an email with a copy of ID, otherwise they'll never process the application. So I'm going to take you from A to Z, actually filling out the application for the DR1 for Florida Resale Certificate. It's really a Florida sales tax application, but it gets you a resale certificate, and I'm going to take you all through it. Real quick, because I can't help but talk about it, I have to talk about sales taxes in general really quick. Sales taxes are on what you're selling into a state. So if you're shipping goods into Florida, selling to Floridian consumers, people who live in Florida, if you pass the thresholds, you should be charging them sales tax and sending that money back to the state. This application that we're going to do is going to give you an account and give you a sales tax number so that you can actually plug that into your payment processor. They'll actually charge the sales taxes, and then you can file a return every quarter to pay those taxes back to Florida. So it shouldn't be an extra tax for you. It should be a charge on your consumers. It's like VAT, but in Florida it's basically 7%. And the resale certificate is important because the sales tax is only applied and taxed to the ultimate consumer. So if you're buying from someone and reselling, like drop shipping, which is super common, then you don't want these people you're buying from to charge you a sales tax because you're then going to charge them a sales tax. It doesn't work like that. If you're reselling, only the ultimate user of the item is going to pay the sales tax. So I'm going to share my screen right now and go through exactly how to get the Florida sales tax application completed and get a resale certificate because it's tricky and it took me forever to figure it out. So I have my screen being shared here. I'm going to jump down to it. On this page, floridarevenue.com is where the Florida tax revenue website is, and that's where you get all the information. floridarevenue.com/taxes/eservice/pages/registration.aspx, which you can see on the screen. You can probably Google yourself to this page. This is where you're going to do it, right? This is account registration. So from here, it says you may be required to register, collect, accrue, and remit taxes if you're engaged in activities associated with a tax or fee. Selling into the state of Florida generally is that. And when you register for sales taxes, you do actually have to comply with and remit a report. Even if you don't sell in Florida, you still have to do a quarterly report. That's really important. In any case, we're going to do it now. The department's online Florida business and tax application is an interactive wizard. So we click here, and now we need to create a new user profile because you haven't done it before. You're going to create a username, you're going to put in your email address and create a password and create a new user profile. And then basically what we're going to get to is to an online version of the DR1 form. This is the Florida business tax application. These are the questions, exactly what they're going to ask you in this order through an online questionnaire. And I'm going to go through the main points here. So first, they want your federal EIN number. Generally, if you're doing all this business stuff, you should have an LLC. I didn't even talk about that yet. You don't really want to do any of this in your own name. It just puts a lot of liability on you personally that's not necessary. There's so many reasons not to do it that way. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but if you're running a business, open an LLC and run a real business. And otherwise, you shouldn't really be paying sales taxes. So, number one, you're going to put in your federal EIN number. Number two is reason for applying. We're going to go to started a new taxable activity at a registered location. Effective date would be now. We don't want to go from way back. We want to just start now is the effective date, generally speaking. You're going to click that box. It says only select one. Then we're going to go to the business name, location, mailing address. Put in your business name, location, and mailing address. You have to answer all the questions. Is it open? Yeah, there's a lot of questions in here that I'm not going to go over. You have to just read them and answer them to the best of how it applies to you. Form of business ownership. We're going to pick LLC. It's going to be a single member or a multi-member, or maybe you made an election where it's a C Corp or an S Corp or potentially disregarded. A disregarded would be a single member, which is interesting how it has it up there and above. So you're going to generally put LLC and then single or multi-member, however it is. If it's a multi-member, it's a partnership, C or an S Corp. So if you're the only owner of an LLC, it's going to be a single member and then disregarded. If there's multi-owners, it's going to be multi-member and generally partnership unless you make an election. It's not an S Corp or a C Corp unless you make an election, effectively make an election to do that. It's generally going to be single or multi-member LLC. Now we're going to go down here and look at information about the business, date of Florida Incorporation Organization, or date to do business is going to be this date. They want the information about the partners. And here, they're going to have something you won't know. When they're asking for the information about the owners, in any instance, they're going to ask for your SSN or visa number. If you have a visa number, you can put that in. Great. If you don't have a visa number and you don't have an SSN, put all ones in here. And we're going to touch on that later because we used to have to do this all in paper, but that's how we figured out how to do it on the online version. So put all ones in the SSN. Keep going through it. Put your addresses, whatever you can. It's not super particular. If they don't have a foreign country address option for you, then use your company mailing address. I don't think it needs to be in Florida either, because the idea is that you're just selling into Florida. You're not necessarily doing business or paying income taxes in Florida. You're just selling and doing sales taxes in Florida. So background, have you been known by another name? What is your business activity? You can look up the NACS code. You can go on Google and look up what is my NACS code. It's basically what kind of business are you. There's codes for different businesses. Describe the primary nature of your business. We sell products online is fine. You know, it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Sales and use tax. They need to know about the business activities below. Are you selling products at retail, at wholesale? Are you selling products from non-permanent locations? It's generally going to be one or two. You're selling products at retail or at wholesale. You're probably not going to do any of the other stuff. Probably not charging admissions or membership fees because that would apply for business done in Florida, but maybe that applies to you. Services, look at these are what applies. Pest control, interior cleaning, detective protection or security alarm. Okay, I'm going to get through this. Vending machines, they have their own rules. Purchases doesn't really apply unless they're talking about a use tax. Most of the stuff you're going to put no on. Solid waste, gross receipts tax on dry cleaning. Reemployment taxes for payroll. If you're an American and you're paying and you have an S corp and you're paying yourself a salary, then you need to register for reemployment tax. It's a very small tax, but that's what it's for. If you're not from the US and you don't have Florida-based employees, like people that are on payroll where you're paying payroll taxes, then you don't need to register reemployment tax. If you have contractors, you don't need to register for reemployment tax. This is for employees, and these are people that have an employment contract and you're paying payroll taxes on behalf of this, and you're filing forms 941, you're doing a lot of stuff. Enrollment to file and pay electronically. This is where you're enrolling to file your quarterly returns. Basically, once you register here and you get approved and you get the number, you need to file quarterly. Even if you do no sales in Florida, file 000, click submit the file. It's not very long. I'm not going to do it in this video. I'll probably do it in a video in the coming weeks, but it's important to just register and do it online. It's so easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. And I help clients get resale certificates and register for sales taxes all the time, and then eventually, inevitably, 20% of them just never do anything, and we get notices and Florida assesses taxes and we have to dispute it, and it's a mess. Authorization for email communication, definitely check yes. Applicant signature, then you have to sign it and then you have to submit it. Before you submit it, make sure you have your business ID, you complete all sections, you've signed and dated. If you're doing it on the online portion like I recommended, right back here after you create your new user, you would register for a new business tax. And again, it's because you started selling in the state, like I said in the beginning. And then you submit it. So after you submit it, you're going to get an email with a confirmation number. If you submitted the form without your personal social security number or without a visa number, and you had to put all ones in the application, you need to forward this email, the confirmation email that you just received with the confirmation number in it. You need to forward that to account creation at floridarevenue.com. You need to forward the email to them, attach a picture of your passport or a picture of your ID, and basically tell them, hello, I just submitted this application and I don't have a social security number, so I'm sending you this copy of my ID so that you can verify me and open my sales tax account and issue my resale certificate. They need that to process it. We used to have to do this in paper. It's much better to do it in this manner, and that's a secret, man. You're not going to see that online. It's a really good trick there. The Florida resale certificate is really, I think, one of the best ones in the country. Generally, if you're doing any kind of business online, you're going to be selling to people in Florida. It's a big state, big consumer state, and I'd recommend it. So sales taxes are really important. Don't play around with this. I hope this was helpful in getting a sales tax application submitted to Florida so you can get your resale certificate. Remember, you have to file your quarterly returns with Florida. Even if you sell zero inside of the state, you have to file something. You have to submit it. They're going to send you emails about all of that stuff. If you have this Florida resale certificate and you're selling only in California, you don't have to pay any taxes or collect any taxes in Florida. But once you're registered in Florida, if you're not selling on Amazon or eBay or Etsy, all of those platforms do all the sales taxes for you. So you don't need to actually pay any or collect any sales taxes because they do it for you. But if you're selling on Shopify or some other website, then you need to do it yourself. And this is a number you drop into your system now that you're registered and collect taxes, charge the sales tax on all your sales in Florida. If you don't do it, technically you would be liable for those sales taxes out of your sales, especially because you've already registered in the state. So I hope this is helpful. I haven't made a video about this in a long time. Good luck to you guys doing e-commerce. I hope the resale certificate serves you well. Don't forget to file these forms. If you have any issues with the state of Florida, they assess taxes, you make any mistakes, and it's just a mess, definitely contact us. This is what we do. We help clients with this all the time. I love to put these videos out so you can figure it out. And I also love to work with people who don't have as much time but have more money and they want to pay me to do it. I think everybody wins in this instance. Thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if I missed anything. Let me know how it goes for you, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.